NASCAR Insight fans, Shane Carlson here with you again this week to recap last weekend in Texas and to preview this weekend coming up in Phoenix. All three series are in action, but first, repping the Winona State Cross Country sweatshirt regionals this weekend, so hoping we do well. Should be a fun time either way. But anyway, huge weekend in racing. Actually, tonight, Thursday, started the World of Outlaws finals week. So that's going on down in Charlotte. That's fun to keep tabs on those guys. But as for NASCAR, we got all three of them are in action this weekend, and two of them are really, the Nationwide Series and the Sprint Cup Series are really tight for the championship with just 2 races to go here. So really exciting coming down to the final 2 races of the season here. But to start off recapping, the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series was in Texas last week, and Ty Dillon in the 3 truck was able to score the win in dominant fashion. He led 130 of 147 laps. He really had the best truck all night, and the best truck won, obviously. As for the points picture, Matt Crafton, he kind of struggled all night. He was running about 15th to 20th all night, but he managed to get a top 10 at the end of the day, and that's what champions do. They turn performances that could be subpar into formidable performances and get the most out of what they had, and that's what Crafton did on Friday night under the lights. Finished 6th, and he's still up 46 points in the championship hunt. He has 1 win. And so all he has to do in the next 2 races is finish 18th or better in both of those. But as for getting back to Ty Dillon, it was the 100th win for the number 3 in all of NASCAR across the top 3 series, Sprint Cup, Nationwide, and Truck. So that's pretty cool. Obviously a lot of people recognize the 3 to be Dale Earnhardt's number, but it was actually Richard Childress's number, who owned Dale Earnhardt's car before that. It was originally Childress's number, so Dale Earnhardt made it famous, and now he gets to pass it on to his grandsons Ty Dillon and Austin Dillon, the grandchildren of Richard Childress. So cool to see that family connection and the family bloodline with the number 3 car. And as for the Nationwide Series, they raced on Saturday. Brad Keselowski won that. It was his 6th win of the year in the Nationwide Series, so he's really, anytime he straps into the Nationwide car, he's one of them to beat, if not the one to beat. But that was his 6th win this season, his 26th career Nationwide Series win. And it was the 12th time the 22 car has gone to victory lane this season. They've done it with 4 different drivers. And as for the points picture there, it's a lot closer than the Truck Series. The spread is just 6 points. It's between Austin Dillon and Sam Hornish Jr. Dillon is up 6 points, and Sam Hornish Jr. Is obviously second, but he has 1 win this season. Austin Dillon does not have a win this season. So it's kind of an awkward battle. I've never really I don't really remember a driver ever winning a championship without ever winning a race. The closest thing I can remember is when 2003 in the Sprint Cup Series. It was actually not the Sprint Cup Series at the time, not called that, but Matt Kenseth just won 1 race and won the championship. But that's really the only thing I can remember that's even close to what Austin Dillon is doing right now. Moving on to the Sprint Cup Series at Texas, that was also dominated by Jimmy Johnson this week. He led a ton of laps, led the most laps, so he gained max points by winning the race too. So he is now +7 in the points over there, and Matt Kenseth trails. He's in 2nd place. Both of them run really strong there, and both of them are going to run really strong this weekend in Phoenix. And to be honest with you, I don't think either one of them is going to have a bad race. They haven't the whole chase yet so far, and nothing is really pointing me to say that they will have a bad race. They've just been so consistent, and Each of them has a knack to step up their game an extra level. It seems every week now they just bring their A game every single week, and they're battling for the lead. It reminds me a lot of 2011 when Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards battled it out between themselves, and they just seem to get better and better each week. Um, Behind that, Kevin Harvick is still mathematically eligible to win this championship, but I don't think he can do it. I just don't see those guys giving up 20 points a race. Harvick is down 40, so he's going to have to make up 20 points at least each race, and I just don't see that happening with how good Matt Kenseth and Jimmy Johnson are running right now. And behind that, Jeff Gordon and Kyle Busch pretty much saw their title hopes go up in smoke on Sunday afternoon. They both blew tires and hit the wall, and it was pretty much a struggle from then on. Went a bunch of laps down, so they're pretty much done as for the championship. And but another a driver who had a really strong run and has in the chase so far is Dale Earnhardt Jr. He finished second, and it was his third second-place finish of the chase so far this season. And he's really, the past few weeks, really since Chicago, after he blew motor at Chicago, but from then on, he's really stepped up his game, and his whole program in the 88 team has gotten a lot better. So that's positive. Good to see that. And now I'll move on to my preview section. Camping World Trucks, they're in action Friday. As I mentioned before, Ty Dillon won last week, so he's carrying the momentum this week in the Phoenix. I think he has a chance to win this weekend too. Just with 2 races left, I think they're all just trying to go as hard as they can. And as for Matt Crafton, he just has to finish 18th or better in the next 2 races. So don't expect to see him take many chances. He's up 46, but I think he can pretty much just ride it out, and he'll be fine. He'll win that championship with 1 win this season. Nationwide Series, they race on Saturday afternoon. As I mentioned before there, it's a really tight points battle. Just 6 points separate Austin Dillon and Sam Hornish Jr. They're both going to be good this weekend. I can pretty much guarantee that. It's a flat track. It's almost a short track, really. There's no banking, really. They can kind of keep it wound up a lot. But this is a track where I think it really fits both of their driving style. It's on the shorter side, and it's kind of a tactical race if you look at it. The corners are a little bit tricky. And you don't want to get up on there's rumple strips on the inside, so you don't want to get up on those and then kick yourself out to the outside wall and hit the wall. But I expect both the 3 and the 12 car to be fast this weekend and contending for the win. And they'll get respect from other drivers on the track. Everybody else knows those 2 are the guys battling for the championship. So if they find themselves in a spot, they're probably going to give that spot up to the 2 championship title guys. So Sprint Cup Series, they race on Sunday in Phoenix, and Jimmy Johnson, as I mentioned before, came off the win last week. Owns a 7-point advantage over Matt Kenseth with 2 races to go. And personally, I think he's in the exact same spot as he was last season. Last season, he came into Phoenix 7 points up over Brad Keselowski, and Brad Keselowski eventually won the championship. It's the first time Jimmy Johnson has ever really faltered trying to win a championship, but I just don't see it happening 2 years in a row. Matt Kenseth has been solid all year long, but I think if you're going to go out and you're going to have to beat Jimmy Johnson, and that's just hard to do. He's going to have to make a mistake, and Matt Kenseth is going to have to be mistake-free the rest of the way, I think. It may not work out that way, but I just don't see Jimmy Johnson relinquishing that championship 2 years in a row. I think they're definitely on a rail to win their 6th championship. But anything can happen. Still 2 races to go. We saw last year it really came down to the last race about halfway through, so a lot can happen still. And I wouldn't count Matt Kenseth out of this, but I think Jimmy Johnson has the advantage. And at this point, I would rather be up 7 points than down 7 points. So that's how I look at it. And another note here, kind of a side note, is last year, this is the 1 year anniversary, the Clint Boyer, Jeff Gordon saga, and all that ensued there. So that's interesting. I don't think it'll have an effect on this weekend, but it's just kind of a big deal because it took Boyer out of the championship last year, pretty much. So if you know about that, you know what I'm talking about. But picks this weekend, Camping World Trucks. I'm going to go with the 29 F-150 of Ryan Blaney. I think Phoenix really fits his style. It's kind of a smaller track, low banking. I think he'll get that 29 Ford into victory lane. Nationwide Series, I got to go with Austin Dillon again. He's just got to win a race. I don't really want to see him win the championship without seeing him win a race. I know it can happen, but I just assume he's going to win one of these two coming up. So I'm going to pick him this weekend. Sprint Cup Series, I'm going to go with a non-chaser, and I'm going to pick him to win his second chase race this season. I'm going to go with the 2-car Brad Keselowski. He was 4th here in the spring, ran really well, but got 2 top 10s here last season. And lately in the chase, he's stepped up his performance a lot. I think he's been more consistent. He's had better cars. He's had faster cars. He's been leading laps. And so that's a positive for Brad Keselowski, obviously. But I think he can break into victory lane for the second time this season. And that's all I got for you guys this week. Hopefully you guys enjoy the races because after these next 2 weeks are up, it's a long off season. So enjoy the races, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.